This is going to be episode 19 of what was Nick's Picks and is now the Gnaw podcast. There's a lot of wrestling news the last week to start things off, which is primarily what this is going to be for this one. MJF is unhappy in AEW and most likely is not going to re-sign with them in 2024. He's been throwing so much shade towards them and playing into the rumors of him coming to the WWE in 2024. The big one throughout the week has been Sasha Banks and Naomi walking out of Raw because of the whole tag titles not being defended on a pay-per-view, but them being into a storyline with the singles titles and putting them over. Sasha Banks' contract is set to expire soon, in about 2 months is what's being reported, and the WWE is apparently going to freeze the contracts, so then if it does, it can expire, and they'll just end up releasing her and then making her non-compete clause longer than 90 days. Same with Naomi. Apparently her contract is up in the air too. I don't think either of them are going to go sign with AEW. I think this whole thing is going to blow over. All over the WWE, the people in the company aren't backing them. People that are out of the company that once were with the company are backing them. Twitter is split 50-50 from what I've been seeing. The titles haven't been defended on pay-per-views, but the titles are useless and not anything exciting or to be excited about. The plan was a six-pack challenge on Raw in the main event, which ended up being Becky and Asuka in a number one contenders match. The six-pack was going to be Sasha, Naomi, Becky, Asuka, Doudrop, and Nikki ASH. At first, the reports were that Sasha and Naomi weren't happy being in the match with Doudrop and Nikki. Not sure how true that is or why they didn't just do Sasha, didn't just do Becky and Asuka for the number one contenders match to face Bianca at Hell in a Cell. Moving on from that part, a happier side involving the Samoan dynasty, the Inoue family. WWE UK Facebook posted a picture of the Usos with both titles and pretty much spoiled the fact that they were going to win. They quickly deleted this picture. I thought the Usos were definitely going to win, and once they have all the gold, being Roman, his two titles, Jimmy and Jay there too, that's when they're going to hold a celebration, maybe have other Samoan dynasty members show up, and they're going to unveil new titles. There was a picture of a new tag title with red and blue, both red and blue, and that being the new tag team titles. It didn't look terrible. Roman is apparently going to take a 10-week hiatus. I hope that they unveil the new titles. I want to say before, but now that I think about it, they're probably going to do it after he comes back. He is listed for the Smackdown at Madison Square Garden in July, at the end of July. His next three opponents were rumored to have been Money in the Bank will be Riddle, SummerSlam will be Randy Orton, and Clash at the Castle will be Drew McIntyre, which that one makes sense. On Friday, at the end of SmackDown, when the Usos won, they destroyed Randy and Riddle. Riddle has now being put into a story that says he has a bruised rib and is injured and will have some time off. I'm assuming same with Randy. Roman is not on the Hell in a Cell card as of right now. And I don't know when his 10-week hiatus starts. I don't know if he's going to touch on it on SmackDown or Raw this upcoming week, or if they're just going to have Heyman say he's gone. Other news, Triple H is back working full-time with the WWE, and Stephanie McMahon is taking a leave of absence. John Cena also says and confirms that he will return. He just doesn't know when, but he said, and I quote, "It's been too long." NXT news. The WWE has signed an 18-year-old who graduates high school this week and then will be going to college while she trains. Thea Hill, and she's from Pittsburgh, PA, which I like and might be one of my favorites in the upcoming years as she starts. Riddle versus Roman at Money in the Bank does make sense because Riddle hitting Roman with the knee on Raw earlier this week. I guess that just depends on whenever Riddle comes back and whenever Roman comes back, if they're going to really do that before or after. Going over to the other side, being Raw, whenever Asuka and Becky were put into the main event, Becky Lynch was the one who said she wanted to lose and pushed for Asuka to get the win. Which we all know Charlotte Flair would never do. As of Friday, Sasha and Naomi have been stripped of the tag titles and suspended indefinitely. Once again, Riddle suffered a bruised hip and rib injury from the attacks on the Usos on Friday. And Theory has said that he wants to face John Cena for the United States Championship at SummerSlam. Madcap Moss is out for some time with new ideas for his gimmick and character being thrown around, and Becky Lynch is currently the only active member of the Four Horsewomen. Charlotte Flair's taken time off to get married and whatnot. Bayley is still injured or just rehabbing and choosing when she wants to return. And of course, everything that's going on with Sasha. On SmackDown, they touched again on Sasha and Naomi, and Michael Cole called them didn't call them disappointments, but said that they disappointed the entire WWE universe, and everyone is just in a whole big twist up in whether or not they think they were right, they were wrong, they should have, they shouldn't have. But that's been the biggest story for this week. The Clash at the Castle pay-per-view does have the poster does have Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns on the front, so I think Roman will definitely be back by that, but I don't know why they're saying Riddle and Roman for Money in the Bank and Randy and Roman for SummerSlam. All right, this is a new part of the episode, or I will upload this part to YouTube as well. This is going to be the Sunday wrap-up, where I just review the previous week of wrestling, AEW and WWE. I have been watching more AEW, which I'm pretty proud of, and I'm going to watch Double or Nothing this weekend. And I can't wait for it. Starting with Raw, This is all via CBS Sports. Of course, starting off, touching again, Naomi and Sasha leave Raw, throwing their titles on the desk of creative, and the main event was changed from the six-pack challenge to Becky versus Asuka. Starting off Raw this week was a steel cage match with Bobby Lashley and Omos with MVP. I didn't watch it. I don't care about any one of these three. I guess Bobby Lashley's okay, but Omos is garbage. The second match was supposed to be Theory and Mustafa Ali, but it was changed to Veer and Ali, and The Miz was the special guest referee. The third match was Riddle and Jimmy Uso. This was, I think this was the match where if Riddle won, then they would unify the titles on Friday, and Riddle did end up winning. Bobby Lashley won the opening match, and Veer obviously won the second match because he's this unbeatable monster that really only has one move and not too exciting. The fourth match, and probably the moment of the night, came after this one. AJ Styles and Finn Balor beat Los Lotharios, and Liv Morgan was there at ringside because they showed her backstage earlier in the day with Los Lotharios coming up to her and talking to her and whatnot. AJ and Finn then came, and I think this is how the match was set up, which was kind of cool. They offered Liv help and offered her to be ringside for their match, and she said she would think about it, and she ended up coming out. The next match was Alexa Bliss and Sonya Deville. Alexa had new music, but I couldn't hear it because commentary was talking over the music while she was making her way to the ring. That doesn't make much sense, and Sonya Deville is now back to being just a superstar, no longer a WWE official. Ezekiel and Chad Gable was the next one. Kevin Owens and Otis were ringside. Ezekiel won, no surprise there. And then the main event was Asuka and Becky. Asuka won by misting Becky once again, like she did a couple years ago. I think that was whenever it set up their match. Oh, when was that? I forget what match that set up between them, but it was when Becky was screaming into the mic, and it was back when this was really, really good product. Notes to touch on. Asuka is the new number one contender and will face Bianca at Hell in a Cell. Cody Rhodes challenged Seth Rollins to a Hell in a Cell match at Hell in a Cell, so we're getting Rhodes-Rollins 3, which is what I predicted way back when, that they would get 3 matches. And then Cody would move on. Sadly, Seth is probably going to lose yet again, which I hope, if Cody's the one to beat Roman, I hope that Seth makes his way back to the title picture whenever Cody is champ and they run with it there, ultimately leading to Seth being the one to beat Cody. Like I said, Alexa Bliss had new entrance music. Couldn't hear it. Whatever. Ali again was set to face Theory, who introduced The Miz as a special guest ref before, and then Veer came out, and Lacey Evans cut a promo even though her vignettes have been on Smackdown for weeks, and she's now on Raw, apparently as a heel. And that was Raw. Again, the big news is Naomi and Sasha walking out. And now on the Sunday wrap-up is Dynamite. I didn't get to watch. I watched some of it Wednesday night and then fell asleep, and then watched it Thursday on the TBS app, which I wish AEW would find a streaming service and put their episodes there so I don't have to deal with the commercials or ads. But Wildcard Wednesday, multiple Owen Hart Foundation tournament quarterfinals and a semifinal, with 2 jokers being against Samoa Joe, who ended up being Johnny Elite, a.k.a. formerly known as John Morrison. Samoa Joe got the win. The next one was Hangman Page against Konosuke Takeshita. CM Punk was on commentary. Obviously, Hangman won. The next match was Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland versus the Workhorsemen. They won, and they're now 3-1 as a tag team. Keith Lee is 9-2 since his debut in February, and Strickland is 5-3 since his debut in March. The next Owen Hart Foundation men's quarterfinals was Kyle O'Reilly and Rey Fenix. Kyle O'Reilly won. I think they might be setting up potentially Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly at one point for this tournament. Jumping to the women's side of the quarterfinals, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, against her Joker, who turned out to be her former tag team partner, Maki Ito. Britt Baker picked up the win. And my picks for both these tournaments, again, I haven't watched much, but I'm starting to now. Adam Cole and Britt Baker winning both the men's and the women's. Which brings to Adam Cole in the semifinals of the men's tournament against Jeff Hardy, and Adam Cole got the win. Other moments in the night were 10 lashes for Wardlow from MJF, and Wardlow just took him, and that got in MJF's head, which was pretty cool and funny to watch. I can't wait for him to be in WWE and him and Miz to have moments, and it's just going to be a fun time. Next week, he has to win a steel cage match against Sean Spears to get the match against MJF at Double or Nothing. Chris Jericho and William Regal came face-to-face, and the Jericho Appreciation Society challenged the Blackpool Combat Club to an Anarchy in the Arena match, which is what they're calling this now instead of a Stadium Stampede, which is what Jericho was going to say, and then Jon Moxley came in and said, nah, I ain't doing that shit. After the Keith Lee and Swerve win, they were cutting a promo saying about they're now a dominant tag team, and I'm assuming they were going to throw a challenge to Jurassic Express, but they were cut off by Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs, who would ultimately then be cut off by Jurassic Express and Christian, who this was my favorite part of the night. Christian came out and spoke for Jurassic Express, and they now have a 3-way dance is what the match is being named on Bleacher Report at Double or Nothing for the AEW tag team titles. And next week on Dynamite, there's a triple threat between Jungle Boy, Ricky Starks, and Swerve. This moment was cool because Christian came out, made the match for Double or Nothing, and then said next week he wants Jungle Boy to get revenge for losing to either Ricky and then losing because of Swerve or the other way around. But this was a good matchmaking scenario. We saw it happen, and it happened quick, and it makes sense that it happens, and it has backstory. And this is way better than what the WWE does, where they just make the matches and don't give any explanation. Wardlow took his lashes and has the steel cage match for next week, and that was Dynamite. There is also a moment with the Bucks and the Hardys at the end of Adam Cole's match, and that match, the Hardys and Young Bucks, is gonna happen at Double or Nothing. And Moxley and Danielson will face Dante Martin and Matt Sydal on Rampage on Friday. Going to Rampage, again on Bleacher Report, it started with a trios match, the House of Black versus Evil Uno, 10, and Fuego del Sol. House of Black picked up the win and then were immediately challenged to a match at Double or Nothing by Death Triangle. Sean Spears beat Big Damo, who was recently a NXT guy, Killian Dane. I never watched him there, so I didn't know who he was. The women's quarterfinals in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, Chris Statlander beat Red Velvet. And then John Moxley and Bryan Danielson beat Dante Martin and Matt Sydal. I found out that this was recorded Wednesday, but after the match, the Jericho Appreciation Society attacked them, and then that's when Danielson's leg was caught in between the ramp. Ruby Soho was on commentary for the women's tournament match quarterfinals and was chirping with Jericho, which I found out makes sense because she's friends with Eddie Kingston. Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti were shown destroying the TNT title because Scorpio Sky and Paige Van Zant won't take their mixed tag match at Double or Nothing. And people are questioning this segment because there's a spare title, so they just destroyed a title for no reason, simply because they can. But I guess that's playing into their new heel turn, character development, whatever. This was in Houston, and like I said, Wednesday was when Danielson got his leg caught in the ramp. And this was Rampage. It started at 7, which was nice. And then we have Smackdown. So on Smackdown, we had Sammy and Shinsuke. Shinsuke got the win. Gunther and Drew. Gunther got the win. Ricochet came out and helped him. Gunther looks unbeatable and will be a great Intercontinental title champion one day. Him and Ricochet, that'll be a really good match. We had Happy Talk, which was garbage. LA Knight, now known as Max Dupree. I didn't watch LA Knight in NXT. I didn't watch NXT. It is what it is. People were mad because he got his name changed again. And especially because LA Knight was a WWE name to begin with. Then we got Raquel Rodriguez and Shotzi. Raquel got the win. I think she should be the one they push to go back and forth with Ronda. And Butch and Woods went. Butch got the win, and Sheamus's group is called the Brawling Brutes. I made a note that I don't know what they're calling them, but Butch came out alone to Sheamus's music, and it said the Brawling Brutes. And then Woods made it known that he'll be bringing a mystery partner to SmackDown next week with him and Kofi to face the Brawling Brutes, Rich Holland, Butch, and Sheamus. And then the end of the main event was the Usos and RK Bro to unify the titles, and the Usos ended up winning. This SmackDown opened up with Roman and the Usos, and Roman cut a promo saying if they didn't win, they weren't coming home to the island of relevancy. And the way he was going about this promo the entire time felt very, very serious, and he was storytelling to the max. He was really good at this. At this, felt kind of Godfatherish, and the Usos got the job done with help from Roman, but they are heels, so they're gonna quote unquote cheat to win. But they have all the gold now, and I hope they just run with it. Yeah, that was SmackDown. It was decent, and it was cool to see the reactions from the crowd. The kids were in shock and awe, and some were scared to death and crying because Roman and the Usos were beating Riddle and Randy Orton so badly after the match. And that was this week in wrestling, the Sunday wrap-up on the newly named NAW podcast, Nick's Analytics and Wrestling. Again, my name is Nick Wietosh. I'll be covering wrestling, WWE, and AEW, and then in other sports being MLB, NFL, and NHL. Primarily wrestling and football. I'll give predictions and stuff for NHL and MLB since I don't watch that much because my teams aren't always on TV. The Penguins are, but I don't ever have time to watch them, and hockey just ended. So here and there, I'll throw in some comments on the Yankees, who have been on fire. So I'm superstitious, and I'm not going to watch while they're doing good. Or I'm just going to follow and keep updated at a distance so nothing messes with their juju. And then the NFL, when that rolls around, I'll be doing weekly predictions for all the games. And then going from there, and of course, playoff predictions for all the sports. But this has been episode 19 of the newly named Naw podcast. Again, Nick's Analytics and Wrestling. Thank you for listening. Appreciate the support. Follow on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, and Facebook, and join the Exceptional Sports News Facebook page. We appreciate that. My dude Keenan, who's in classes at Full Sail with me, that's how I met him. He's doing some great things, and I'm happy to be a part of that and see how far it grows. And this has been episode 19. Thanks.